G'day fellas and welcome to a casted game. Spawning in over on the west side of the map, we have got Casva, who is playing as the French. On the opposite side of the map, playing as the English, we have got Darius P. I think this might be the first time we have got Darius P on the channel. So if you're a fan of Darius P, welcome guys, because I know he's got a little bit of a fan base going back there. But this is an important match right now. This is Golden League. This is a knockout match. It's a best of 3. So it's imperative that either player looking to get through to the next round is victorious here, because if a player loses, well, they're going to get knocked out. They're going to be going home. It's going to be it. So poor fellas are going to be trying their best to keep their heads up through this. Casva in particular going to be looking at try and make amends. He has unfortunately not done the best in the first couple of runs, but this run he is looking to try and go ham. But it's going to be tough for him. He's got a big road ahead of him and needs to perform well. Needs to ideally go for a top 2, top 4 finish to be able to get there. Opening up with a double scout. No surprise they're playing as the French. We see an early wheelbarrow coming in as well. That is correct. Get your wheelbarrow alarms out. We have got a Dark Age wheelbarrow, and Villager going to be moving back. She was originally on berries, I think, or just, yeah, originally on berries, just going to be coming back and looking after the sheep underneath the town center. Nice little sheep gathering already starting up with Casva over here, but we'll check in over on the other side of the map and see how Darius P is doing. He's playing as the English. Not going to be going for an early wheelbarrow. No early wheelbarrow shenanigans coming out of our English player today. And that's something that has been taking over the ladder recently. We've been seeing this early wheelbarrow coming up from the English. It doesn't seem to be the case today here from Casva. And I'm curious to see how Darius P responds to that, because obviously Casva, he's going to be scouting him out. He's going to be making sure that everything around that base is going to get scattered out and make sure he knows whether an early mill comes down, because that's going to change the way that he plays. If he sees an early mill coming out, he's probably going to be thinking about a second town center. It's going to be incredibly important for Casva to be doing that, because playing against the English, if you do look at, if you do see them going for an early wheelbarrow, that can mean that they're going to be focusing heavily on their economy, and they may outscale you, even as the French. But we'll look to see how Casva plays it. I think if these guys play heads up, so that, what do I mean by heads up? That means if you've got both players that are just playing very standard, you don't have early wheelbarrow, you don't have any 2 town centers, then I definitely feel like French are at the advantage. But if the English player goes for an early wheelbarrow, it looks like it might be the case here. So going for about a 3-minute wheelbarrow. So not going to be that Dark Age wheelbarrow that you typically see out of these English players, and no farms getting dropped down, at least at this point just yet. But the mill signifies to me that there will be a wheelbarrow coming out. So going to be a slow but steady burn here for Darius P. I'm looking forward to seeing how he comes out about it. But he's over on the other side of the map, continuing to move forward. But what can we expect out of this matchup today? Well, as mentioned before, I think it's unlikely that you're going to see a second town center out from either of these guys unless there is that early wheelbarrow coming out. And because there's no early wheelbarrow, I doubt that we'll see it. You can see that Casva obviously has the option to go out there if he wants to, but he's going to be tapping away 4 villages on that landmark, so might be looking to do a bit of pressure. Don't be surprised if we see a professional scouts come out either as well. We have seen that in this matchup before, where players will be looking to go into professional scouts just simply because the English player never touches their deer. So it's going to be very easy for you to be able to coming in here, looking to take away some of these deer, and you can see it's quite a fair bit of food. So instead of getting out onto the field and bringing those and putting your mill down, it's going to be the reverse, where you're going to be looking to bring that deer to you. Up towards the north, though, we see a villager going to be harassed here. Villagers turning their attention towards that scout. You can see them trying their best to actually do some damage here, but they got their bows out and just going to be falling back. Bows. I said bows, but I'm thinking of like the headset, or their headphones, earphones. I guess that's what they're called. Now, do they get into melee combat at this range, or do they have bows? That's the question. I don't actually know. I'm pretty confident they just have their bows even in melee range, and that's interesting. Some units have got a melee weapon. Some units do not have a melee weapon. So obviously scouts have got the melee weapon. They've also got a ranged weapon when they're dealing with wolves, with deer. But I guess with villagers it's a little bit different. But Darius P under pressure. Casva doing a great job here. He's up to the next stage now. We see the longbowman coming out, both players reaching that feudal age. A little bit of a late timing here for Cass for about 5 minutes. Obviously, he's gone for that early wheelbarrow. His economy is going to be pumping right now. And oh my lord, we're seeing the double broad axe. This is exactly what the English do not want to be going up against, because this is a sign that we have got ourselves a little bit of an age 2 all-in coming in. That is, and it's very difficult to scout this. How do you really know? Well, the French player is not doing anything. So you would be looking at the gold. You would be having a scout up over on this position, and that's what he's got. He should see the gold. He should know that there might be an all-in coming in the Feudal Age. So what kind of response does that mean that the English player needs to go for? There are a number of options. You can look to go to Castle Age yourself and just play for, you know, 3 or 4 longbows and a spearman or 2. That's always going to be an option for you, but it's going to be difficult. It might mean that you need to even get an outpost up out on this gold. That's going to be one of the reactions, but we'll look to see how Darius plays it, because this is a very difficult position to counter. And now we see the early horticulture coming in. This is big. This is very big. This is something that was theorized by Kanoki. He said, I think that this is where the French meta is going. I genuinely think this is where the French meta goes. They will look to get out maybe an early knight just to look to try and gain control in the early game. Here we've seen just horsemen coming out at this stage, and then behind that, they're taking every single economic upgrade that they can. Here we can see that he's not actually going to be going for that specialized pick. Instead, just going to be investing in horsemen together with just normal archers. And at the same time, we now see Darius beginning to push out, going to be looking to put attention over on the other side of the map with a little bit of an outpost push beginning to come out. Scout going to be here in tandem as well, just scouting out where the enemy is, but keep in mind, Casper is keeping an eye on every single bit of movement. Horticulture has now come in, and Darius, he is going to be in a little bit of trouble because that economy is really going to start kicking off right now for Casper. You can see the villager count already up by about 3 at this point in time. Longbowmen looking to push in. We could have ourselves a little bit of trouble already. Keep in mind, those horsemen up towards the north coming to a bit of an engagement on this front. Longbow gonna have to fall back. The spearman gonna be coming out, finding a good little stab there. They do indeed pierce a horseman. It's gonna be horseman for breakfast, but now the scout coming in onto the action as well. Moving forward, there's a lot of units out here for Casper. Villager gonna get picked up as well. Darius P, it looks like it might have peaked a little bit too early, or at least pushed out a little bit too early. He did go for that wheelbarrow behind. Maybe you should have just waited a bit longer, but now all of a sudden it starts to get concerning because this push has now come to shove, and Casper is looking very, very strong here. His economy is gonna be massive behind this, and we can see he's now got that lumber preservation is in. He's got that horticulture. Did I say lumber preservation? I meant double broad axe is in. Horticulture is in, and now you can see specialized pick is also coming in. Wheelbarrow is already in. Darius P is going to be in a very difficult spot because he's going to be behind on villagers. He is going to be behind on economy. Now, when we take a look at Darius P, how is he doing with regard to his economy? Do we have double broad axe coming in for him? We do not. Do we have we don't even have horticulture coming in for him? No, nothing really coming out at this point. And you can see this is the consequence of going for a delayed wheelbarrow. It definitely feels like your economy is a bit behind where it should be. Normally at this point, you know, you'd be thinking about an English player, they'd be pumping out units non-stop, and that's kind of why we've seen this early wheelbarrow come down. But just remember that the French have kind of got one up in every regard when it comes to the English, because if the French player scouts that the English is going for an early wheelbarrow, then all of a sudden they're just going to be opening up with that second town center, and that's something that we've seen players do repeatedly throughout the Golden League. Now we can see the Casper moving out onto the hunt, so not going to be going into professional scouts, just going to be looking to take hunts in the early game. 5 villagers down towards that south hunt, 6 villagers up towards this north hunt. He's got a lot of villagers out here hunting. Does he even potentially look to get survival techniques? It's going to be an option for him. We'll have to watch and see how he plays it. There are boars out in the middle of the map that he can look to be taking as well. Another boar down to the south, but Casper definitely in a decent position right now. And behind this, Darius P is stacking up a fair bit of gold. What's he thinking about? He's thinking about going for a blacksmith. Could be looking to go into +1 here. Probably going to be the case here. +1 attack on the range is going to be the first technology, and you can't imagine that there's any way that Darius P thinks about going for a siege engineering here. There's just no real need for it at this point. But now that scout going to have to fall back. There's a lot of horsemen coming out here. Going to be looking to tap away at that. We can already see +1 ranged of armor. He's going to be coming in for Casper. Casper looking like he's in a very strong position here. I got to say, I like the way that Casper's playing it. He's played it really smart. And indeed, we see survival techniques. Casper's French economy is booming right now. And I got to say, I love it. I think this is such a smart way to play the French because you can stay on that one town center. You are outscaling your enemy. We can see the villager counts right now. 35 villagers for Casper. 31 villagers for his opponent, Darius P. So he's outscaling him there. And he's also got the economic upgrade. So it just makes sense. You know, he's got map control as well. You know, the English players kind of stuck in their base. Not really sure whether they want to move out or not. The horseman going to be enabling mobility to come out for Casper, and behind that, what does he do? He looks to take the hunts. And now, as a result, we can see that even though Darius is dropping down farms, and they're cheap, they're a discounted farm, he's got to stay in his base. He's got to stay in his base, and that gives the entire map to Casper, and it allows him to really start leveraging the power of those survival techniques. We've seen the survival techniques buffed up in the most recent patch, as well as just hunting in general being buffed up massively. And now Casper going to be looking around the corner here. You can see he's hunting out for some sort of villager on on the edges of the map, but obviously going up against the English player, there's no real threat, and we do indeed now see that outpost coming down on the gold. It looks like there might even be intents for a potential Castle Age play here. He's got a fair few villagers out here, normally a lot more than what you would expect. He might be thinking about swinging into man-at-arms, and to be honest, that might actually be a decent rotation for him. Maybe drops down a second barracks with that could definitely help out. I think a man-at-arms switch at this point would be very healthy for Darius, but obviously he doesn't know the position of his enemy. There could be 2 town centers out. There could be, you know, there could be 4 archery rangers out. He's got no idea. Now the scout's going to be making its way back out. He has to retrain a scout to get more information. And immediately he's met by a scout of his enemy. And all of a sudden, it's not looking good for Darius because he's got no idea what's going to happen to him. And now we see an attack down here on the wood line for him. Darius going to be losing at least 1 villager. Second villager going to be going down as well. We can see the +1 attacks obviously coming in for his French opponent. He's got that bloomery already in. And now a villager moving out. Keep in mind the town center rallied out towards his position because of the scout. Forgets to change it. Villagers now beginning to go idle. These guys initially were going to be looking to pick up those sheep, but now Darius P going to be struggling. We can see Casper in the middle continuing to add in units. And look at the production that is coming in behind this. A second stable getting thrown down. He's got the blacksmith. He's got triple archery range here. The School of Cavalry just producing units non-stop. This is I was going to say the Chinese economy. This is the French economy just taking over. This is the new way to play French. Big upgrades coming through for our French player here. And I love it. I love the way that he's playing. I think it's so smart. Every single upgrade, he has got it. If we take a look right now, the exception obviously being professional scouts. He has picked up horticulture. He has picked up wheelbarrow. He has picked up survival techniques. You take a look at the lumber camp. He's got everything. He's got the forestry upgrade. He's got the double broadaxe, and then you take a look at the mining camp. Of course, he's got the precursor to acid distillation specialized pick, and not only that, he's playing as the French, and he gets a discount. So whereas we can see that the units here or the upgrades in the mill are going to be a lot cheaper for our French player than for our English player. If we go have a look at the upgrades over there, so 192 and 52, compare that to the professional scouts here, and when you're talking 275 and 75. Massive discount. If I remember correctly, I think it's 30%, which is huge and enables him to really leverage that early game bonus. And this French civilization, you can see why it's so strong. They're a very flexible civ, adding in more units. Look at their military count right now for Casper. He's on 48 military, and it looks like we've now got an age up coming through for Darius P. It's a little bit late. I feel like it is a little bit too late at this point. I would have loved to have seen this coming through. If he was able to drop this down around the 10-minute mark, it would have been a different story because he would have been able to get up to knights. But now he's going to be in a tough position. I expect that we're going to see stables drop down here. It's going to make a lot of sense for him to do that. But keep in mind, the scouts are just looking out around the base. They are trying to determine what the best route of attack is. And now I think Casper realizes there might be blood in the water as he spots out that landmark. He doesn't want his enemy getting up to the castle age, and all of a sudden we've got a bit of a battle beginning to unfold inside the base of Darius P. Darius P going to be trying his best, forcing out those horsemen onto the front line, but using his archers as best as he can as bait. Now those archers going to continue, those longbowmen continuing around the town center. We can spot out those horsemen going to be diving in, looking for it. He's fighting underneath both of the town centers. Keep in mind, the King's Palace is being prevented from getting up right now. 20 villagers inside that town center. You can see the Gatling gun firing off as fast as it can, but the longbowmen going to be going down here. There's a big mass coming out from Caspar. Caspar is looking to try and close out this game right here, right now. We talked about the potential for men-at-arms to come out. They'd be looking very, very nice in this position, but instead we do not see it. Instead, we see Caspar just overwhelming his opponent. All the archers inside the base. Villager count at the moment, not looking the healthiest for Darius P. He's on 37 compared to the 49 of his opponent. He's going to be looking to try and get up to the next stage, but you can see all of the archers going to be turning their attention up towards that northern spot. Villagers continuing to run idle, and it's not looking good right now for Darius. He definitely suffered quite a significant amount when there was no scout out there. Not really able to determine what his enemy was up to. Didn't know if there were more units being made. Didn't know if an age 3 was coming. Didn't know if a second town center was going down. And as a result, he gets punished significantly. Villager difference right now, massive. 14 villager difference. Population difference, it's considerable. 67 up against 41. He's got to look to go up to the castle age. He needs to be up in the castle age, and he needs to look to go towards knights. They're going to help him out a huge amount in this composition that his enemy is going. But the question is whether he's going to be able to make it. You can see him trying his best to come up. Villagers, it looks like we almost had like a bell just ring at that point. Everybody just came back towards the town center. Darius P realizes he might be on the ropes right now. Caspar senses that there could be blood in the water. Indeed, he does. It looks like we've got a battering ram coming through up towards the north. He's going to be laying the groundwork here for a push down towards his position. He's got 300 gold in the bank. That's going to be enough for 3 knights. I like it. I think it's a smart move, but at the same time, there's no stables out. There's absolutely nothing. No form of production. The only thing he's got going for him at this time is spearmen coming out, and that's going to cost him wood. He's got barely any villagers on wood. He's got 16 out there, but you can see they've just only started chopping down trees now, finally making their way back, and second town center going to start working overtime, but I can't help but feel like villagers are the last thing you need right now, Darius. You're going to need prayer. You're going to need something to help keep you in this game, and as the battering ram continues taking down that outpost, it's going to completely neutralize neutralize the gold. Now, fortunately, Darius has got the double gold in the back of the base. That's going to be a good start for him, so he's going to be able to fall back to that. The question's whether he's going to be able to get those extra production buildings out that he needs right now. Knights are going to be very helpful here. Men-at-Arms also going to be helpful, but keep in mind that economy for Casper is massive, and we do see a Castle Age now coming through for Casper. Casper going to be able to go up to the second age, and oh my lord, it's a second town center for Casper. This is what we're talking about when you are talking about the French economy. It is massive, and oh my lord, is that a Royal Institute? That's a Royal Institute happening right now. Casper is going for the Royal Institute. We are starting to see the Royal Institute meta begin building, and Casper is looking to put on the hurt right now in the base of his opponent. Veteran archers or veteran longbowmen also coming out. Casper going to be doing his best to try and take these bad boys out before they even get a chance to fire off. You can see them trying to exchange out with the enemy archers, but not having a lot of luck. And Casper now really pushing his opponent up to the wall. We can see the age up is halfway done right now. 14 villagers tapping away at it. Casper looking very good as he continues forcing his opponent into the corner. Villagers going to be trying to fall back here. Battering ram continuing. There's 10 villagers inside that town center. They could easily pop out and look to take down that battering ram, but it looks like Darius is going to tap out. Casper victorious in this first game of the knockout brackets. Fellas, the next video uploaded to this channel, it's going to be game number 2 between these two titans, and the question is, who moves on to the next series? It is going to be match point right now for Casper. Make sure you check out Golden League this weekend, 15 GMT. Be there, be square, Saturday, Sunday. I'll see you there.